Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 14th, 2024 Town of Kent Planning Board meeting. Chairman Carey is not in attendance. I will be presiding tonight. Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order, we'd like to authorize Kathy Doherty to participate tonight in view of Simon's absence. Do we have to vote on that? No? Next order of business is to approve the September 12th, 2024 minutes. Anyone like to make a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay, first on the agenda is the Beardwood Williams property.
Good evening. I'm Jonathan Willens. I'm the owner of a property at Sagamore Lake, 127 Sagamore Drive. It's a property that my wife and I have owned with our family for 30 years. It's a half-acre property, and we're proposing to replace an old cottage that's falling apart with a new, modern, sustainable house. And we've agreed to set back the house 100 feet from the lake, moving it back 15 feet from where it currently is. There'll be no fossil fuels on the property. It's going to be a modern house that complies with all the setback and land usage rules. And we're hoping to start work on it in December or January. And I hope that's consistent with the board's schedule. I'll hand the microphone over to James Hartford.
Good evening, everyone. James Hartford from River Architects in Cold Spring. We've been brought on to design the replacement of Jonathan's home. The current house is from circa 1950s, I think, 40s, 50s, and that has been added on to over the years. It doesn't really function well for them. It's not very comfortable, and so our plan is to basically replace that with something, as Jonathan said, clean, energy efficient, and importantly for the impact on the lake, no fossil fuels. We're removing the oil tanks and the oil burner, so we don't have any risk of contaminating water from that, and pulling it back out of the wetlands buffer zone that it currently encroaches on. I have drawings here I can walk you through. So just a little, sorry. Google map view. We're on the eastern side of the lake. Currently, the green line, outline here shows the current situation of the house. This dashed line here is the buffer zone, the 100-foot setback, and so you can see how it's currently encroaching on on that buffer zone. These are the setbacks, just for reference here. And this is the proposed location of the house, pulled back in orange with a green line just showing where the original house is situated. There will be a patio here and a screened-in porch, but no conditioned or regularly occupied space within that setback. The existing foundations will be removed as much as makes sense. If we completely remove them, we might have more soil stabilization issues. So perhaps, maybe breaking them up and abandoning them in place so that, there's just less site disturbance. And this is a you know, kind of zoomed up situation showing the basement walkout level. So on the Sagamore Drive portion, the property kind of comes up to a ridge here and slopes back towards the road. So it's a walk-in condition on the lower level, and so you can see some basic you know, entry kind of situations here. In the existing foundations, we're proposing to situate a rainwater harvesting cistern so that any rainwater from the roof first is collected, and then any overflow would be directed out towards the west, or towards the east. The second floor shows the walkout condition on the lake side, so just the stone patio here and the screen porch. And just to give you a sense of what the finishes would be, natural materials, very, you know, low, you know, kind of contrast, so, you know, kind of to blend in and be a good neighbor. Here's a rendering from the Sagamore Drive side. So a natural fieldstone base for that walkout basement, stone steps that rise up, and kind of earth tone finishes. And on the lake side, the 2 stories visible, low roof line, and here you can see the screen and porch there. That's pretty much our presentation.
Okay, very comprehensive presentation, thank you. Any comments from the board?
No.
We'd like to open the public hearing at this point. Any comments regarding this project? Okay, so we'd like to adjourn the public hearing until the December 12th meeting. We understand you're awaiting a zoning board of appeals decision?
Yes, we've submitted for, to get onto their calendar.
Right. Okay, so we're going to adjourn until that time, until next meeting. I make a motion to authorize Bruce and John to prepare a resolution for board consideration at the next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Second? Sorry.
I'll second.
Aye. Okay. Good. I think that's all we have for tonight.
We're good?
Right?
Great, thank you. Thanks.
Good.
All right, next up is AJ First Realty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joel Greenberg from Architectural Visions. We're the architects for this project. As we discussed at the work session, we made the changes that Bruce had proposed with regard to the seeding and the possible planting of some trees after the seeding has taken and the grass has grown, and we're certainly in agreement with all of that.
Okay. Bruce, do you have any comments?
Good evening, I'm Bruce Barber, the town's environmental planning consultant. This is an application, a simple project that got started a little early. A gentleman was clearing the land behind his commercial building on Route 52, kind of across the street adjacently from the batting cages. The work was in excess of 5,000 square feet, and correctly, the building inspector issued a notice of violation to correct the conditions. Working with Joel, we went through a couple iterations with this board regarding some planting schemes, et cetera. It seems that at this particular time, we've got it very close to what's necessary in terms of seeding, mulching, erosion controls, stabilizing the site, which really is necessary. The drainage swale at the base of the hillside is just going to be really left alone and allow it to continue to operate as it has in the past. And so at this particular time, the recommendation of the board is to, number one, waive the public hearing, and number two, authorize this application be sent to administrative check for John and I to finish the T's to cross and I's to dot. Okay? So you
Okay.
just need a motion and a second for both to waive the public hearing and also to send it to
Okay,
administrative.
so I'll make a motion to waive the public hearing. Second. And all in favor? Aye. Make another motion to move the project to administrative track to allow Bruce and John to resolve any final issues. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and we will work with the consultants
We probably should.
to get this resolved. Thank you.
Order of the agenda. and
Okay.
we'll move to the two where the attorney is not required, so we do.
Trail
Gypsy
Club.
Trail and West Wall.
Right, okay. We're going to go to 5 and 6. So we're going to modify the agenda as we're awaiting our attorney. So we're going to hold off on items 3 and 4, and we're going to move to item 5, which is the Trail Club.
Sorry, I don't have one spare.
Oh, okay.
Good evening. For the record, my name is John Andrews. I serve as engineer to the planning board. What you have in front of you is a resolution. It's draft number 2. It's entitled Acceptance of a Withdrawal Request and the Return of Unexpended Funds. Simple facts, the Gypsy Trail, 769 Gypsy Trail Road proposed a subdivision. The sponsor was the Trail Club. After much discussion back and forth with you folks, they've decided to withdraw their application. We have a written request from their engineer, Mike Bodendorf, formally withdrawing the application and seeking the return of any unexpended town funds. Vera actually has audited the account with other town staff and found that there is, in fact, no unexpended funds, but there is an outstanding balance due and owing the town of Kent in the amount of $1,206.84. So since this is a bit of a non-standard one, there is a very simple resolution that we've prepared. And if it's okay with you, I'll read the now therefore be it resolved clauses.
Yes.
Now therefore be it resolved, the Town of Kent Planning Board acknowledges and accepts the withdrawal request for the project and directs all involved to discontinue and conduct no further work on the matter. And be it further resolved that the Town of Kent Planning Board acknowledges there are no unexpended funds to be returned, but there is a balance due and owing the Town of Kent. And be it further resolved, the Town of Kent Planning Board hereby authorizes Vera Patterson to seek payment for the balance due and owing the town. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption by the Planning Board. The Planning Board further directs that this resolution be forwarded to the Town of Kent Town Clerk for their information and use. Requires a motion, a second, and then we'll go through a roll call vote.
So I make a motion, we approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Okay,
Who
on the
was that
motion,
second
roll.
from, please?
Jean.
Okay, Simon Carey, Planning Board Chairman, is absent.
Correct.
Tom Ferroni, Acting Chairman.
Aye.
Jackie Bashar.
Abstain.
Hugo German.
Aye.
Giancarlo Catucci is absent. Richard Marini.
Aye.
Jean Monet.
Aye.
And Kathy Doherty.
Aye.
Okay, so the motion passes 5 to 1 abstention and 2 absences. Okay? We're good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You want to stay up there, John?
I will stay right up here.
The next item is Westfall.
The next item is Westfall. That's a subdivision that's been in and out of appearance in front of you for a significant period of time. We've kind of been waiting for attorneys to catch up. And what this is it's a revised lot line between 2 homeowners. David and Sheila Westfall are obtaining property from Mark and Brianna Martinelli. The reason for the land swap is to make sure that all of the Westfall driveway is on their property. It's a very simple land swap, and they've kind of complied with all our requirements. And And if you're prepared, I'll read the now therefore be it resolved. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Kent Planning Board acknowledges that the proposed lot line revision is a type 2 action under seeker pursuant to section 617.5 C16 and requires no further seeker review. And be it further resolved that pursuant to the Town of Kent Chapter 66A, Subdivision of Land, Article 3, the Planning Board hereby grants revised lot line approval for the lands of David and Sheila Westfald and Mark and Brianna Martinelli, subject to satisfactory compliance with the following conditions. The owner of the lot or parcel shall submit a proposed deed describing as a single parcel the existing adjoining lot or parcel along with the property to be conveyed, conveying said increased lot as a single parcel, unified to himself or others with certain language. I won't read the language. A complete meets and bounds description of the consolidated lot needs to be provided for review. Number 2, address any remaining outstanding comments of the planning board's environmental consultant to his satisfaction as set forth in his review memorandum dated April 11th, 2024. Address the comments of the planning board's professional engineer to his satisfaction as set forth in a memorandum dated October 4th, 2024. And then number 4 is payment of all consultant fees accrued by the planning board to review the project plans and the application. It is the responsibility of the applicant project sponsor to submit to the planning board proof that each of the conditions of this revised lot line approval have been completed, and the signature of the planning board chairman shall be withheld pending receipt of a written memorandum from the planning board's engineering consultant verifying that each of the conditions of this approval have been completed. The final drawing shall not be accepted by the planning board without the submission of proof of completion. The proposed deeds of conveyance, as required by Town Code Section 66A17 and is described herein, shall be subject to review and approval by the planning board attorney. Upon notification by the planning board attorney that the deeds are in conformity with the provisions of this chapter, the applicant shall submit the Mylar for the planning board chairman's signature. The approved survey map and deeds shall be filed within 62 days from the date of the chairman's signature. In the event that the approved survey map and deeds are not filed in the office of the Putnam County Clerk within that 62 days from the date of the chairman's signature, the revised lot line approval shall become null and void as if it had never been approved. Upon request of the applicant, the planning board may extend the time period, provided that the request for extension has been received in writing and is signed by the owners of each lot within the original 62-day period. The planning board may grant a single 90-day extension. That's the resolution. It requires a motion, a second, and then we'll go through a roll call.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we adopt the resolution as presented by John.
I second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Simon Carey, chairman, is absent. Thomas Ferrone.
Aye.
Switch pages, folks. Give me a second.
Jackie Bashar.
Aye. Actually, it goes John Carlo on this one next.
Okay.
He's absent.
Absent.
Hugo German.
Aye.
Jackie Bashar.
Aye.
Richard Marini.
Aye.
Jean Monet.
Aye.
And Kathy Doherty.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank
And
you,
I
John.
talked too fast. The attorney's not here yet.
He has a different.
So we're still awaiting Joe, but I think,
Yeah?
can we do
might
that?
as well.
Sure.
Just get it out.
Okay, the next application is Alper Property.
On the Alper property, the board will recall that they appeared last month, and initially it was determined that they would need to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the height increase in the proposed building. At that same meeting, the architect represented that, well, what we'd like to do then is consider removing that element of the structure to remove the need to get the variance. At this time, we're still waiting for those revised plans to demonstrate that. They have not applied yet to the Zoning Board of Appeals, to my knowledge. and they have not submitted those plans revising those components. So right now, we're just waiting for the applicant to supply one or the other to move this forward so we can finish that up. So that would be Alper.
Beresford?
Beresford, we conducted a site inspection out at the property. We're waiting for the applicant to provide a revised site plan. They are in need of updating their Board of Health approvals. They also have to update their wetland delineation. We found a little bit more wetlands out there than what had originally been shown on the plans. So we're anticipating hopefully a plan revision shortly so we can get that on for the December agenda.
Okay. Cardillo?
Cardillo, we can actually take that off the list. We went out to look at the property. The driveway was paved as per board request with the widening of the edge near the road. And also they did the mitigation plantings adjacent to the wooded area below the septic system, and that was done in concert with the approved plan from the planning board. So basically they have completed the requirements to have an issuance of a permanent certificate of occupancy. So we can take that one off the list.
Yay.
Chung Yen Monastery, John is standing before me, so not for you? You want to do Flint Rock? Yeah. Chung Yen, we're still waiting for some revised plans. There's just a few, really, just small amounts of things that need to be done on that. They've changed the well location. They've done a couple of other things to revise the plans. So the ball's in their court still. Hopefully we'll get something so we can get them finished up in December. John, you want to talk about Flintlock? Or Jamie? Or both?
Flintlock Storage, we received a submittal, I think I indicated to you on the date of your last meeting. I've reviewed that. They are essentially done. We got sign off from the attorney. We got sign off from everything. I think Vera is making arrangements to have the final set of plans signed, and she is verifying that she has sufficient copies in her office. So that essentially can come off. That one's at long last done. Guy Lazaka Mayette, we're still waiting for a submittal. Holly Property, we're still waiting for them to update things and make a submittal. Cohen, same thing, we're waiting for, that's from Mr. Greenberg. Metric Motors, I'll turn that one over to Bruce, that's his favorite.
So we had scheduled an appointment with the soil scientist to meet out the site today to go through the determination of where the wetlands are or are not on the property pursuant to the planning board's request. We received an email earlier in the week from the property owner who indicated that he was not available to have that appointment, or keep that appointment, excuse me, and he indicated that he would be in contact, his words, not mine, after the holidays. Not sure which holidays and where, but that's where he left us. So as it stands right now, this is particularly in limbo, but we're waiting to hopefully have him reschedule that with us so we can move this along. The rest of the projects, Nichols Road, Route 52, Holy, Ryder, Torres, and TJ Contracting, we're all waiting for some additional information. I know that Joe has been speaking back and forth a bit on the Ryder property. I believe he's been able to get them to move forward to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which has been discussed with this board, so we can have his setbacks looked at from the ZBA and make that determination to come back before you folks. So that's where we are right now, and we were able to do enough, so I think I just saw Joe come in the room.
All right, so back to our agenda. Item number 3 is Homeland Towers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Pocha. I'm an associate at the law firm of Snyder & Snyder, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Homeland Towers, who is the applicant in this matter. As you are aware, the applicant is proposing to construct a personal wireless service facility consisting of a 150-foot monopole and equipment compound at the base thereof at 59 Hortontown Hill Road, as reflected in the filing submitted by David Kenny of our office. Unfortunately, Mr. Kenny could not attend tonight's meeting, but it's my understanding that a balloon test was discussed at the board's work session last week in order for the board to assess the potential visibility of the proposed facility. In connection with the balloon test, a letter detailing the methodology was submitted, as well as viewshed maps reflecting the proposed photo locations. So we're looking to schedule the balloon test for the earliest available date. In order to comply with your notice requirements and in light of the upcoming holidays, we're proposing the first weekend of December, which would be Saturday, December 7th, with a proposed rain date of the following day, Sunday the 8th.
Okay, thank you. Bruce, do you have comment?
So there are two aspects of this application to discuss this evening. The first one is just the application in general. And the board will recall at the workshop, there was a discussion of the application, and there was a review memo conducted by my office with assistance from John and from Joe, indicating formally that the project was found to be incomplete. And that was determined to be the case by the planning board at the workshop last Thursday evening. It's important to put on the record because that will toll the shot clock that is required to be running as part of this application. The shot clock would not commence again until the application is indeed found complete by this board upon a new submittal by the applicant. So that's step one. Step two tonight has to do with the balloon test. And we did receive some additional materials from the applicant. Basically, number one, the board at the meeting on November 7th authorized Mr. Clint Smith to be the cell tower consultant to review certain components of the application. You had requested that he review this application to determine if the balloon height that's proposed by the applicant of 150 feet was adequate, or were there other heights that need to be considered. And he emailed back to us earlier this week indicating that pursuant to his review of the materials, he felt that a 125-foot balloon was also necessary in addition to the one to be flown at 150 feet. The second aspect was the applicant submitted a visual methodology report from Saratoga Associates. They also submitted 2 viewshed maps, which indicated the proposed locations of where the photographic simulations and information will be obtained from. Subsequent to that, we received today from David Kenny's office an amended material on the viewshed map, where at the board's request, they reviewed the natural resource inventory maps and added 2 spots to be looked at as part of the balloon test that were part of the viewsheds of the Appalachian Trail. So basically, where we are right now is that the cell tower consultant has weighed in pursuant to the board's request, indicating 2 balloons, one at 125, one at 150. We have a revised viewshed map, basically dated today, showing the final locations of approximately 14 locations to show where these balloons will be looked at from different vantage points in the town. So what we did is we prepared a draft resolution for your consideration this evening, and basically it is dated today. It says draft 2 on the very top of it, okay, and basically it discusses what I just went over with you this evening, but I want to draw your attention to page 2 of this resolution because there's purposely left a section that is blank that is talking about the viewshed points. And what I'd like to suggest to the board is to insert in that blank photographic evaluation as provided by the applicant dated today, November 14th, 2024. And that will basically be sufficient to lock in what we received in terms of viewshed mapping and also the report from Saratoga Associates. So this would be basically as
And you said this is on page 2, Bruce?
Yes, it is. Very first whereas at the top of page 2, Mr. Vice Chair. And so that is the only proposed amendment to this. I will, this is referencing in this draft resolution, the visual assessment report and the map. It also references the 2 balloon heights of 125 feet and 150 feet. There are some certain conditions that need to be done. I just want to go over them with you very quickly. Basically, in addition to some making sure the escrow accounts are current, the balloon is located very close to Con Edison Towers, and generally what we ask for is a letter, if possible, or an email or communication that Con Ed is aware of the balloon test, in that it's in close proximity. They should be able to weigh in if they have any issues with hazards or danger or thing of that nature that they need to make the board aware of. The second is to indemnify the board relative to those types of conditions with the balloon test, and that's just something in writing that the planning board attorney can review and look at. And other than that, that's basically it. When the balloon test is going to be conducted, a surveyor needs to go out and survey locate where the balloons are going to be put on the property. That should basically match the plans that have been provided by the applicant. Final location of the balloon. And other than that, really, that's about it. One thing to note is that the driveway itself, it's a little unclear of how they're going to get up there. And John and I were discussing this, and if indeed they have to do clearing on the driveway to the extent where it's over 5,000 square feet, or over 2,000 square feet on slopes in excess of 15%, they will require an erosion sediment control permit. And we don't have that information yet because the plans are not detailed enough. So we're hoping that that will not be needed. If it is needed, we need to come back before this board to rectify that.
Okay.
Okay? So that is what's before you this evening, is this resolution approving the balloon test. Moving forward, we would need a motion and a second and a roll call vote, basically to approve this resolution as amended.
So I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution for the balloon test, draft 2, as amended here tonight.
I'll second it.
Okay, and this is a roll call vote.
Sure. Simon Carey is absent. Tom?
Aye.
Hugo?
Aye.
Giancarlo is absent. Jackie?
Aye.
Next page.
Richard?
I know this is suspenseful. Hang in there. Rich, excuse me. Rich Murray?
Aye.
Thank you. Jean?
Aye.
And Kathy?
Aye.
Motion passes.
There you go.
Okay.
Good.
So what I'll do is I will make the necessary corrections to make this hard copy, get that over to Vera for distribution.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
All good? You betcha.
All right, next up is Morrow Equipment.
Good.
Good evening, Jamie LaJudas from Inside Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. Also present from Keenan Bean is George Alessandrados. I'm good. So since we've been before the board, we've provided some additional information with regards to the site plans, some sections, an amendment to the full EAF. We've provided the visual EAF addendum. We've provided additional visual photos, modified the traffic analysis report, included a use cycle of the tower section letter from Morrow Equipment, and also additional information pertaining to the storage procedures for gear oil and hydrologic fluid, including also the paint and painting procedures, and then also an amendment to the stormwater pollution prevention plan narrative with regard to the construction sequencing. So I think we've mostly addressed everything that we've tried to do for seeker. We're in receipt of the draft Part 3s and the narratives, so I believe those are up for review tonight.
Okay. Bruce, do you have comments?
Okay, so the board has reviewed this application with respect to seeker. We've had a couple of iterations moving forward. Basically, the application was submitted to this board to construct an industrial facility, of which there would be a building that would be, in essence, a mixed building consisting of warehousing, office space, space to conduct educational programs and business meetings, things of that nature. A second freestanding building, which would be basically a maintenance, wash, and paint booth type of building, and also a freestanding crane that would be running on tracks, an electric crane towards the back of the property. And the purpose of the crane would be to basically unload and load the crane components and stack them on the site to have them be ready to be repaired, conditioned, and brought out to new sites. And so this is the general aspect. It meets the code definition of an industrial facility. And so basically, we've been moving forward under those provisions. The applicant, in desiring to have a 99-foot crane, as well as these stacks of stored crane components, went to the Zoning Board of Appeals to determine, number one, if the crane was a structure or not, and also to obtain height variances for the stacked materials. Also, it was determined that the lighting fixtures had a height that was also in requiring of a height variance. My understanding is that the Zoning Board of Appeals has determined that the crane itself is not a structure and subject to the variance requirements. They cannot make any determination on the height variances until this process is completed and the seeker review is as I said, done. We have gotten together with the applicant at the suggestion of the planning board and the planning board consultants. We met with the applicant's attorney, our attorney, some folks from Insight Engineering, and we had a meeting that basically took and the Part 2 AF that the board had adopted, where you found several potential moderate to large impacts, and worked with the applicant to try to resolve those, either by removing them altogether, reducing them, or modifying the plan so that at the end of the process, we got to where we are presently, which is that there are no major or moderate impacts, all are either no or minor impacts. And that's where we stand today. So there's 3 documents before you. The first one is a 9-page document, and it's referencing a draft 6, okay? And this is a product of myself and John and Joe working through the details of the negative declaration, which asks a series of 13 questions and basically provides tremendous detail as to how the board has reviewed these materials and determined that there is no substantial negative environmental impact associated with the proposed project. So that's the first document in front of you. Along with that document, the second document is a draft resolution, okay? And that is labeled Draft 2, okay? And that is basically a 3-page document which goes through the history of the property in terms of starting with intent for lead agency, reviewing the Part 1 EAF, adopting the Part 2 AAF, reviewing the process of Part 2, and then finally to this point with developing the Part 3. So the first step for the board to take this evening is to adopt the resolution if you so feel appropriate. The resolution then references the actual 9-page negative declaration and becomes a singular document. So is there any questions, and did you have enough opportunity to review all of this? Everybody good?
No questions? Yes, we've had the opportunity.
Okay. So if you are so willing, if you'd like, we can have you have a motion and a second on the draft resolution, which would be basically approving the negative declaration.
So just to be clear, this is the 2-page resolution, correct?
Right, so Tom, this is the one I'm going to show to you. Make sure everybody's aware.
Not the 9-page discussion?
This is this one.
It incorporates that
Chairman,
discussion.
Might be helpful if we just read the now therefore be it resolved clause into the record. So
Would you like to do that?
I can do that.
Go, you step up to the mic, John.
Oh,
And if you can want to sing, you go.
no, don't tap dance while I'm doing this, please.
Because God forbid all 3 of us don't speak on this application.
So anyway, no, I just think it's appropriate and necessary that it,
You're so good at reading out loud, Joe.
yes.
That's the last one. Just don't forget.
Basically, as Bruce said, the negative declaration is a standalone document, lays out the facts, circumstances, and the determinations that you made with respect to this. That is your intent to file it and memorialize it. This resolution basically adopts that. They're tied at the hip, so to speak. And the now therefore be it resolved is as follows. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board has compared the proposed action with the criteria for determining significance in 6 NYCRR 617.7C and determined that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and has prepared a negative declaration of environmental significance, which is attached hereto and is incorporated as part of this resolution. The planning board, in its capacity as lead agency, adopts a negative declaration pursuant to seeker with respect to the proposed action. That's the summary, and as you see, everything's tied together. I'll let Bruce handle the motion, the second, and the roll call. He's better at that than I am.
So
All I can say is whoever wrote that
So I'll
paragraph
make
was
the
very
motion
genius.
to adopt the negative declaration of significance dated November 14th,
I'll second.
2024.
Hold on a second. John, I think you took the sheet for me.
No, you gave it.
Took his cheat sheet.
This is mine. You
This
gave
is the actual resolution. I mean, you know. Okay. Simon Carey's action. Tom? We have a motion and a second?
Can I just ask one question about that before we?
Yeah,
Yes,
of
on the
course.
motion, go
Not too
ahead.
late.
Sorry, on page 1,
Page 1 of which document, Josh?
The resolution.
Resolution.
draft 2 resolution,
Go ahead.
page 1, second to last whereas.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it
Hot
says Putnam
Valley?
Valley.
Eagle eyes here.
Yeah, I saw that online, but I thought it was corrected.
I'm done. Thank you.
Done.
This will be Town of Kent, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not sure. All right, moving forward, amended resolution, please do another motion second on the amended resolution.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the negative declaration of significance dated November 14th, 2024, amended to state the Town of Kent.
And I'll second it.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, Simon's absence. Tom?
Aye.
Hugo?
Aye.
Giancarlo's absent. Jackie?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Great. Okay, your next step is the third document, which is just a simple Part 3 form of the environmental assessment form, which looks like this. You good? On the very top right in the little box, agency use only, it says Morrow Equipment, November 14th, 2024, draft 2. Pretty good? Okay. All that this document is referencing the fact that through this process, the board has considered this project. You have made a determination that there is a negative environmental impact, no environmental impact associated with the project, and it provides the chairperson the opportunity to sign that document moving forward. So basically, this would be a roll call vote authorizing the chair to sign the document as indicated. Any questions?
You sure we need a roll call?
Then this one you would. Please.
Haven't we reached our quota on roll call?
We will now.
We're
I
going
just
into
like to do it.
overtime if we have to do
I
that.
know, it's just, I know, I'm charging you guys a lot. Sorry.
So I'll make a motion, we accept the FEAF Part 3 as presented
Chairman's signature, please.
and authorize the chairman's signature.
Thank you.
Second? Any second?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. All right, how you vote, Tom?
Aye.
Jackie?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Hugo?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Lastly,
2 down.
Lastly, not to do with these documents, but the next step for this is this application requires a site plan and major grading permit from the town. And so we are going to be reviewing those particular components, John and I and Joe, and we're going to be providing the normal and typical memos we would for any project for the December meeting. At that meeting, if the board is comfortable that the information is sufficient, you can certainly advise to schedule the public hearing for the January meeting for this project, at which time also, if the board feels comfortable, you can request John and Joe and I to craft an approving resolution for those permit applications. So those are the next and final steps. Okay? Everybody good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Okay, have a good night.
That's it.
That's it.
We're done, right?
Yeah.
I make the motion, we close the meeting?
You gotta make a motion to close the
Want to do
meeting.
the rest of the
Aye.
below the line?
I'll second it.
We finished that.
We did all the way down to the bottom?
Yeah.
It was one group.
Good.
All right, all in favor of closing the meeting? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, we did.
All right, have a good evening, everyone. See you next month.